Just quickly, when I was going through the shirts, Spike Lee, to give him this top, I was going through some proper old school ones. Remember that one?
Ooh.
Oh,
this?
that was a good one. That's got. Oh, I mean, that does remind me of Henri. That one as well. That's 02, right?
That's
a
proper one. Yeah,
that's
proper Arsenal.
Bale here, Rooney. I just been in a cupboard. It's a bit disrespectful, to be honest.
Massive time. Bale, Rooney.
Very massive.
They're just in a cupboard on the floor.
That's actually Thierry Henry, Champions League. Thierry Henry, Champions League signed. That's awesome. I just didn't know I had it.
Didn't know you had it.
No, well, I did, but just when you go through stuff, you find stuff, right?
Theo, you need to be one of those footballers that has like a trophy room. You know, somebody comes out and decks it. You've got a little bit of a situation going on behind you with the England shirt, but you need to get those shirts, mount them up. It costs about $7,000 to put that into a shirt. That's all that Taylor's got. He's just got a flipping whatever they're called of the
a bobblehead.
You can hear it.
I love it.
You can't put square pegs in round holes. It ain't gonna work.
He has to be able to adapt, but he won't, and he said it. So now the ownership have got to make a big call.
We're not having Panenka. I'm never having it. I'm actually never having a Panenka, full stop.
I feel like they could put in a right-footed player and play him left back, and somehow the ball is going to bounce off the back of his head, and it's 1-0 Liverpool.
Oh, it's another big game. On Tuesday, we've got Bayern Munich, Chelsea.
Yes.
We got Liverpool Atletico on Wednesday,
yes,
Man City against Napoli, and Newcastle Barcelona.
Brilliant.
I know,
Love
but
it.
are you going to still be going yes in December when they're all playing each other again? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Is too much of a good thing? Guys, this week, we've got loads to get to, by the way, because Manchester United. But before we get to them, we thought we'd start this episode with a community question because, why not? From Jake Inator 722 on YouTube. And this is quite interesting, got me thinking. He said, got a question for all of you. If you could pick a favourite sport other than football/soccer, which is it and why? Theo?
I would pick golf, to be honest.
To play or to watch?
I don't know if watching's that fun, to be honest. To play because I use it as a bit of peace out in the walking around on my own, or I'm happy playing on my own, and I find it quite relaxing. To be honest, I'm never the most stressful golfer at all because I'm not that good, so I don't have any expectation on that front. And to watch would be basketball. I'd love to watch basketball.
Isn't that interesting? Now that your life isn't stressful anymore, Theo, and you like to go and play golf by yourself, I think that's really interesting. Taylor, what about you sports-wise, and do you need peaceful golf time alone?
No, I have about 5 or 6 voices, friends in my head anyway, so I don't need to be Billy No-Mates like Theo Walcott on the golf course. I need 4 friends at all time. Everyone that follows me or knows me knows I love golf. I love to watch golf. I love to play golf. The second sport that's interesting is American football, because over here, that means one of 2 things. You're hanging out with friends, you're home, you're on your couch. There's a communal part that it's Sunday. There's usually great food being made, or you're at a restaurant. So always American football for me. And Rebecca, you know this after living over here for a while now. There's a communal come together, whether it's with your family, friends, or whatever it is. For me, it's playing golf, watching golf, but American football is a close second.
We won't be playing golf together then, I take it.
No chance. Not Billy No-Mates. Nope.
Cool.
Nope, you can't.
It's really interesting, Taylor, you talk about American football, because the longer I've lived here, it has taken me a bit more time to understand it.
Yeah.
It's really the only thing in this country that unites everybody. I feel like it's such a deep part of the American culture where there are so many different cultures in America, but the NFL culture on a Sunday or even on a Monday night or now a Thursday night really gets everyone together. And I kind of love it, so much so that I actually was doing my Premier League prep this week and I put my little iPad on. I never do this because I can't do 2 things at once, but I put Thursday night football on mainly because I like to watch pre-games of other sports because I like to see how they do pre-match shows and half times and stuff like that. So I watched a bit of that and I was like, as much as I think our football has the ability to take over Major League Baseball, to take over NHL, I think it already has, to take over the NBA once all of us are gone, it will do. Football will become the number 2 sport, but just the number 2. Because when I look at that NFL, I'm like, no, I don't think we're getting that. we've got to talk about the sport that we're all obsessed with, and that is soccer, football. Manchester United, I said it at the top. Oh my goodness, losing by 3-0 in the derby. Well done, Manchester City. But the story, as is so often the case with these things, is about the loser rather than the winner. Taylor, let me start with you. Ruben Amorim has the worst win percentage of any permanent Manchester United manager since the Second World War. The big question for me after yesterday, is it this system? Or is it the players that he's playing out of position in the system? Bruno as a 6, we've talked about that before. Luke Shaw as a centre-half when he spent most of his life as a flying fullback. So what is it? Because some people are saying system, some people are saying players out of position. I mean, ultimately it's all down to the manager, but what is it?
Well, when the manager has a quote of saying, when I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man. You miss me with that. You guys miss me with that. We've now done a number of podcasts together, so both of you know where I stand, and so do our listeners and watchers at home. You can't put square pegs in round holes. And the best managers in any sport around the world, we just did a community question. The best managers in football, in basketball, in baseball. It doesn't matter what team sport you're playing. The best managers are the ones that maximize the potential of each individual player. If you are playing each individual player, or in this instance, I'd argue 6 of your starting 11, in a system that doesn't suit their profile, Theo, you know this better than anyone. It ain't gonna work. And so for me, I don't care what anyone tries to tell me about the players being good enough or not. You don't know that answer if the system doesn't suit the players. I watch Manchester United and I see a team full of players that are looking over their shoulder. They're scared to play because they're unsure of the task at hand, of their individual responsibility in the collective goal. I don't see a team that is collectively on the same page because individually they are all unsure of who, what, where, when, how of their individual tasks tactically. Rebecca, it is both of how you ask that question. It is players being played out of position because the manager's playing a system that doesn't suit the players, and it's not going to work, and I think he's lost the players. Because now, Theo, and you know this better than anyone, if you're not confident and everyone looks down the tribune and in the locker room and everybody's looking at each other going, what the hell is this guy doing? You've already lost the game. They've lost the game before it started.
I would have to add as well to that, surely as a ownership profile manager, you know this going into this, that this manager is fixated in his way, in his system, and it's only one way. So they've got to be careful where they don't just obviously kick him out too quickly because they've kind of backed him and the amount of money they've spent as well. And, you know, you've had a period of time to get a number of players that will fit your system. But yeah, I totally agree. I just feel when I look at someone like Luke Shaw, who's an outstanding fullback, and I've played against this man, and he's an England international for a reason, one of the best fullbacks I've arguably played against. And I played against Ashley Cole, Evras, and he's up there physically because he knows what he's doing in left back because he's played there for many years. If you put him at centre half, I tell you right now, smart players, and Erling Haaland, of course, he's an intelligent player and a man. I'm going to play on that weakness. And there's weaknesses all around there because you have players that aren't comfortable and unaware of their surroundings. And like you said, they're always just second to everything. They're just as the delay in everything because they're not, like Taylor says, they're unsure. And I would be that as well. I wouldn't know where I'd play. I'd probably be a wing back, but I'm not not a left-footed wing back, so he has Adman on the right. So it's, for me, it doesn't work. And they have to stick with him because they've gone this far. That's the problem.
Well, you say they have to stick with him, Theo, but what Taylor talked about in that dressing room, take me inside the Old Trafford dressing room, whether it's at training or at the stadium, Theo.
Yeah.
If they're starting to lose faith, and Taylor thinks they are, those players, that will manifest itself quickly, won't it? And they'll have to get rid of him, won't they, if the players have lost faith?
Yes, they... It's a tricky balance because they've not been in this position before. So we're actually not quite sure how the ownership model's like at this moment in time in a Premier League sense. I think it's very similar to the way the stadium is. It's the cracks that are happening. It's always these issues that are developing behind the scenes that we're not aware of. But they have improved. I know the results haven't been a good place, but their running stats and their attacking profile is better. But it's all results business when you play for Man United. That's the only problem for me. So he has to be able to adapt, but he won't, and he said it. So now the ownership have got to make a big call if they trust him in this sense.
I think, Taylor, this feels like one of those situations that we're all not sure what the ownership are going to do, but in 6 months' time, once he's been fired, whenever that happens, we'll look back at right now and think, like, how was he not fired sooner? Why are we... It's a bit like it feels to me a little bit repetitive of the Erik ten Hag. Like, look, mate, this isn't improving. This isn't working. Why are we going week to week having the same conversation? Make the change now. Now, I don't like it when managers get fired. Especially don't like it when they've been given a load of support. And Sir Jim Radcliffe comes out earlier this year and talks about how he thinks he's a wonderful manager and he's doing brilliantly. He's not. He's not doing brilliantly. He has the worst record of a permanent Man United manager since the Second World War. The problem is, are we just going to do the same thing, which is the definition of an insanity, every single week, hoping for a different outcome?
Yes. You just took my line. Rebecca, it's spot on. I mean, that is the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Now, to Theo's point, Donnarumma made one of the best saves I've seen in a long, long time. And if that goes in, okay, it's 2-1. Maybe the game, maybe they pull out a draw, whatever it may be. So I do believe on some level, even though we've gone way overboard on the analytical aspect of looking at games and underlying numbers, and it helps you better understand whether it's expected goals, expected goals against, zone 14, however you want to characterize it. I think it helps you understand a game a little bit better. But I'm old-fashioned when it comes down, did you win or not? Because we're eventually going to talk about Liverpool, and they can't not win with whatever they do against whoever they... And we've all been in locker rooms and in dressing rooms where when you're part of a team that just knows you're going to win, you're going to find a way to win. When you're part of a team that knows how to lose, you can't get out of your own way. And you're going to do things no matter what you do, that even when you lay down in bed 4 hours after the game and you're sitting there saying, I've never done that before in my life, yet I made that mistake, because you're in this spin cycle that you can't get out of your way. Theo, you hit the nail on the head. They knew who they were getting when they hired this manager. So in my opinion, I think they're not going to get rid of him because they're like, he's eventually going to figure it out. Rebecca, I think it's going to be too late. I think we're going to have this same conversation 6 weeks from now and say, can't believe he's still there. God. Can't believe they haven't won, and can't believe they haven't scored goals. 2
of the goals are avoidable because they are actually in a really good formation at the time. And it's going back to the players not being aware of their surroundings and the behaviours when they haven't got the ball. But they get into good positions, so they were avoidable. That's the point I'm saying. There have been improvements. They've just not been clinical enough. And Shesko, for me, at this moment in time, is isolated on his own.
They just spent 250 million quid on a front line, though.
Well, this is my worry. You change the personnel all the time. The centre-halves. My centre-halves, Arsenal, never got changed. Or Arsenal now. Centre-backs do not get changed. Do not change your back four. Wingers get changed, which is annoying. I always used to get subbed. I just thought, okay, I've done my job, but it was generally the pattern. Centre-halves, don't change that. That's too dangerous for me.
He does it every single game, Theo. He changes a centre-half and he puts on Harry Maguire. It feels like every single game. We could do another whole podcast about Ruben Amorim's substitutions, by the way. Because putting on Kobbie Mainoo and Harry Maguire on the hour mark to try and win a game that you're losing by a goal, I think it was at the time, 0-0, and then not putting on Joshua Zirkzee, who is no world beater, but he's the only real forward you have on your bench. His substitutions are so weird. I know, Taylor. I know. I feel it. And I'm not even a Manchester United fan. We have to move on because we've got other stuff to get to. Well done, Manchester City. And I know that you were on Match of the Day this weekend, Theo, and you talked a bit about Erling Haaland. What's really interesting about him, I think Roy Keane, who sort of half joked, actually I'm not really sure it was half a joke, I think it was just not joking, a few months ago about how his build-up play and his play interacting with other players was, whatever level he said it was, really low down. He did say this weekend, he's improving that, his connection and his holding up of the ball and his, I can't think of the word, but the interplay basically as a team player, because he so often doesn't get involved at all. Yesterday was about as good a centre-forward performance in his own box as well as it was anyone seen for a while, right?
It was a full performance. It was a complete there's been a lot of talk about number 9s in this world, and I've actually a big fan of Isak, but Haaland was like, no, there's only one, and it's me. And Pep knows that as well, and I think he knew this, and it was a complete package. His overall game, he was getting involved everywhere. The touches in the box, touches away from the box, the way he was coming deep, the way he was pushing the centre-halves back, and had 3 defenders at times, which is way too many, but not in his eyes. He can handle all 3 of them. And it was a complete performance, and a defensive sense as well. It's like he loves scoring goals, but he also loved defending. And he's going to be a centre-half when he finishes, when he slows down a bit. I'm pretty sure that, because he's got those qualities. But look, he's just exceptional to score 11 goals in 6 games as well. Wow, he's just... I can't speak highly of him anymore. That's the point. He's the best we've ever seen.
And Theo, the point is this, though, like when you think about number 9s, we talk about 9s. I think it's very difficult. And listen, I played the position. For you English listeners, I'm not saying I'm Erling Haaland, so calm your pants, relax. But playing as a 9 in a Pep type system, you've got to be really, really patient as a 9. Especially someone like Erling Haaland that wants to go 1,000 miles an hour. Remember him with Dortmund. Remember him with Red Bull Salzburg. It's 1,000 miles an hour. So that's a system that suits him. Be big, be strong, be physical, run in behind, bang in as many goals. Now he comes to a city where now it's fewer touches, but more effective touches. And so while I think there's fair criticism about his hold-up play, his link-up play, the reality is Pep Guardiola brought him in because they lacked a presence in the box with all the interchanging and rotations in the midfield and all of that. He's eventually going to find it. I think he has seen it. But the reality is this, he scored 7 goals this week. That's what he's there for. So anyone that says his hold-up play and all that, sure, he's there to score 30 goals a season. That's his role, and that's what he has to do, because then it complements the entire other picture of what Manchester City is. If he adds that, then Theo, you and I could do a podcast of whether or not the best number 9 in the world, he may be unmarkable. He may be unplayable if he adds the ability to drop into the pocket, pull off his center back, combine, then get in behind. Now you're talking about a complete number 9 that adds that arsenal. I thought he was brilliant on the weekend. I think he's figuring it out. But Rebecca, I think there's a real good argument right now of who's the best 9 in the world. And I always think I'm going to rely on his ability to finish plays off and to play a proper 9. I think Erling Haaland's the answer to that question.
So you would obviously go Haaland if I asked you, Taylor, Isak or Haaland. In one word, Theo, are you going Haaland or are you going Isak, best in the world right now?
Haaland.
Have you ever dunked a custard cream in an English breakfast tea with milk in? Has anyone ever done that?
Why have they got leaf blowers?
That is him.
That's right, said Fred in the front.
You're being cool. Big Fred. Unbelievable.
Gary Neville, grow a proper muzzy or shave it off your scruff.
You just said 4-3-3 before that.
Ça va? Hello. We're going to start Andrew on 2.5.
Can't wait.
That wasted 18 years to sit.
I know.
The team dynamics actually suit Marcus Rashford.
It's Nicky Butt, Teddy Sheringham, Roy Keane, hang gliding over Hotel Pool.
Arsene Wenger saw that I was talking to Lionel Messi. Theo, why did you not push him down the stairs?
Shit.
Give him what he wants! Give him what he wants!
Now, Liverpool, Theo, they've played 4-1-4. Brilliant news. Except they almost haven't won hardly any of them. All 4 winners came after the 83rd minute. 3 of the 4 winners came after the 90th minute. So is it brilliant that they're doing that, or is it worrying that they're doing that?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. For me, we talk about just winning games. Doesn't matter how no one remembers the first game of the season and the second, the third, fourth. It's all about results and getting points on the board, and they're finding a way. And I think what's really interesting, Arne Slot at times is even learning as the games go on, because now you're getting this element with Burnley, having everyone up against, like a bus. Everybody got to try and get through it. And he's like, do you know what? I'll just try and stick on as many forwards, as many attack-minded people, just because I'm not worried about, because there's been no worry at all the whole game. And I just think it's an interesting way, because at times you see managers would then replace, like for instance, Salah had a quiet game, subdued. However, he still looks quite sharp in moments. If that was not Salah, he's getting subbed, but he always feels like, no, I need him on because he have a moment. And obviously, of course, the moment came, and no one better else to take a penalty is going to be Mo Salah. But I just feel it's a great position to be in, because they're finding a way, and when you find a way, the energy just flows through the team with results, and particularly last-minute winners. They are a great feeling for anyone, and the fans as well. It's a problem. It's starting to be a problem. I actually was a bit upset about it, to be honest, because I thought Burnley worked their socks off extremely hard.
They were great on the day.
They were
exactly
brilliant
what
on the
they
day,
wanted to do.
Taylor?
They were great.
There was a plan, wasn't there, Taylor? Exactly what was going to do, and they did it spot on. And Scott Parker, of course, was completely frustrated. And I remember him back in the England days. He played like that as well. He says what he believes. So Liverpool problem for me, massive.
It felt inevitable, Taylor. Gary Neville told a really good story about how he was at the Etihad and he was watching the game, and he got in the elevator to go up to the gantry to get ready for the Manchester derby. And he said to somebody, by the time I get out, it's so obvious they're going to score that by the time I get out of the elevator, it will be 1-0. And that's exactly what happened. It was just, you just knew, it was a bit like Man United back in the day. You just knew it was coming.
It's Fergie time, isn't it? I mean, the way they're winning games, this is very similar to what Manchester United. Speaking of Manchester United, didn't you just ask me in the 60th minute they brought on Harry Maguire? Yeah, that's what you do when you're chasing a game. Theo, I say that tongue-in-cheek. Why? Because you know exactly what it says when you look over at the manager. You're going up against Burnley. You're struggling. It's 11 guys behind the ball. And yet he is telling the group on the field, no. We're going for it. Here's another forward. Here's another winger. Here's another midfielder. This is what we're doing. We're not worried about them. It's a lot different if the manager over there says, okay, we're just going to do like for like. He's sitting there saying to the group of players, I trust you. We will find a way. Now, we talk about analytics. Burnley was really good. Liverpool, expected goals, they had their chances. They won the battle. This isn't luck. Anyone that describes that as luck, it's not. And you know why? Because you have to create your own luck with your beliefs, your movements, your actions. Liverpool's actions right now, yes, they're winning games in the 90th minute. Yes, they're winning games in injury time because they're going for it. Scared money doesn't make money, Rebecca. And they are not scared in the moment to push the right buttons, to keep going, to win games ugly, to win games late. They are winning right now, and it's very similar to Manchester United under Ferguson, which you guys all over there deemed it Fergie time. It really feels like right now Liverpool can't do anything wrong.
You're right, and their manager can't do anything wrong either, because some of the things that he did, especially the Milos Kerkez first half substitution, as anybody who knows anything about football knows, substituting a substitute or substituting somebody in the first half is embarrassing. It's humiliating. But he gave a little explanation / a slight telling off, I think, to Milos Kerkez when he brought him off because he was on a yellow, and then he just committed another foul, and you just got the feeling, I think it was Michael Oliver, was going to get the yellow card out and send him off. And then, of course, it would have been, I think Arne said afterwards, it would have been difficult to win that game with 10. We wouldn't have lost it, but it would have been difficult to win it, so I took him off. And you just think he did that on the first ever game I think he was in charge of. I think it was Liverpool Ipswich, and he didn't like Jarell Quansah, and I think he took him off in the first half. Managers that do that, it's so running that line between are you going to lose that player or are you not, and you just feel that no matter what Arne Slot does, he's still got those players. Real quick, Theo.
Yeah, no, he's brutal. Look, but to be honest, we've seen it before with players and that have gone over that line. The managers don't react to it. But I'll be okay. I'll do it at half time. Too late.
And then they lose them because of the second yellow.
Exactly that. So I'm just like, for me, why not? You're the manager. You manage the team in its best possible way to win a game. If it's not working for you, take him off. I haven't got an issue with that at all. And explain. And I think the players these days, because there's so many games anyway, they understand. Yeah. Plus, as well, it was an awful dive. Like, for me, that's just not acceptable. With VAR as well, at least trying to get a little bit of a skin so it looks a bit obvious. But you're not getting away with that. So for me, he should have been subbed for that.
Absolutely, that yellow card, and then that second challenge was silly. He's struggling to find his place, isn't he, at the moment, Milos Kerkez? In fact, I'm not 100% sure that the fullback positions are working brilliantly right now in this new Liverpool team, but who cares? Because they're winning, and that's all that matters, as Taylor said. Real quick, before we get onto the Champions League, I've just got to mention Aston Villa. Taylor, let me ask you about Aston Villa, because what happened on the last day of last season at Old Trafford when they were so close to getting into the Champions League, and then it was that big controversial referee VAR error, and you sort of felt like they were putting all their eggs in the basket of Champions League money because they were already up to PSR limits. They didn't get that. Now they don't have that money, so they couldn't really refresh in the summer, and the whole thing's stale.
It's the worst start.
Bottom of the league. Second bottom of the league, and they haven't scored a goal.
Yes, it's the worst start to the Premier League campaign since, 97, 98, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of shocking.
Yep.
But Rebecca, I think it's very important that the listeners understand exactly what you said. It's almost as if last season has completely bled into this season, and they haven't really gotten out of that mentality. It's not really been refreshed. It's almost as if they're still disappointed with how it went at the end of the year. It looks like, I personally believe from the first, and I know we can be prisoner of the moments in media, but that's also having fun with it. It would not surprise me one iota if there's a relegation battle at Villa.
And also, just to add to that, they are the only team in the top 7 leagues of English football, and we're talking some semi-professional leagues, all the way to the Premier
not score
League.
a goal.
The only team out of all of them to not score a goal. There is a major problem. Right, Champions League returns this week, guys. It's going to be spread across Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. And obviously, we've got some brilliant games. I won't go through them all because everybody knows where to find them. But the new league format, Taylor, let me start with you, is interesting. And I read a really interesting article at the weekend in the paper. I think it was Martin Samuel in the Times who wrote about how sometimes you can have too much of a good thing,
yes,
Taylor, right? You can have the Liverpool against Real Madrid games. You can have Barcelona against Chelsea. You can have Manchester City against Juventus too many times so that it's not as special as, say, it used to be. I think there was a time in English history for about 10 years where Real Madrid only played an English team once. So when it happened, it was absolute blockbuster. Where do you stand on this new format? Are you okay with all those amazing, brilliant, exciting games, or is it too much of a good thing, Tay?
No, I'm glad you're starting with me on this because I literally had this argument about 6 months ago, Rebecca, about the, more teams in the World Cup, more teams in Euros. It's kind of diluted European Championship qualifying and World Cup qualifying, which, yeah, sure, we could be deemed old man, get off my lawn, not wanting to change. But on the other hand, when the big name matchups come around, Rebecca, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than when Arsenal played Barcelona and you look at their history and it's 5-6 times in the less. There's nothing better than that. But now we've got 48 teams in a World Cup. Now we've got 24 teams in the European Championships. I loved the 4-year process of qualifying for the big international tournaments, and I love the Champions League. Now, I understand that the younger generation, the ones that grew up playing video games way more than us, that lived with FIFA, they want more, and Theo raises his hand, they want more Arsenal Barcelonas. They want more the big name matchups. I just think it dilutes the gravitas of those games, for lack of a better way to put it. Because now when I watch the new competition, and this is strictly from someone that's in the United States where the games are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've always watched these games when the Champions League comes around. But when there was something of Arsenal and Barcelona and Bayern versus Real Madrid, you kind of really stopped doing whatever you were doing. I don't know when they play now. Is it group stage? Is it knockout round? You know what I'm saying? Like, not meaningless, because that is completely disregarding and disrespecting the players.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Taylor. You're saying that you'd stop what you were doing because Arsenal were playing Barcelona in like a quarterfinal of the Champions League, and now they play them all the time. Theo, you played in the Champions League in the old format. Sometimes you'd have games. Of course, the flip side is you're going to sometimes have games against quote-unquote a minnow, right, in the group stage, and sometimes you had dead rubbers, and that's why they changed it. But now, I don't know, I feel like Taylor a bit. It's like, it's another big game. On Tuesday, we've got Bayern Munich-Chelsea.
Yes.
We got Liverpool Atletico on Wednesday,
Yes.
Man City against Napoli,
Yes.
and Newcastle Barcelona.
Brilliant.
I know,
Love
but
it.
are you going to still be going yes in December when they're all playing each other again? I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's too much of a good thing.
I know, this is one thing we aren't going to agree on.
You love it.
To be fair, I love it, the fact that I remember playing these games, and as a player, of course, playing Champions League is incredible, the music, the atmosphere, everything. But there is a limited period when you don't get a chance, an opportunity to play at these incredible venues and stadiums personally, right? I know, stay with me here, Taylor, stay with me.
No, I think you're onto something here.
But, so, as a player's perspective, it might be one season, for instance, Villa, right? They've been in the Champions League once, now they're not going to be in the Champions League in another 20 years. Those fans will not get an opportunity again to go to a Real Madrid. They ain't going to get to the final. They ain't going to get to the semis and quarters. So it's balanced that sense when it's attracted a bit more of a different fan group, and I understand, but I totally get your point. I kind of liked that scenario as well, because it gave me a chance to rest actually and recover going into the next game, thinking we're already through. Even Arsenal at times we might not have been through, but no, we had my period of time at Champions League was incredible. I had some great moments, and I really enjoyed it. But that's my view on it. I just feel as I watch football differently, not playing it though. So that's why I see it this way now, thinking, oh, what a day to go out to Real Madrid, the Bernabeu, Nou Camp. It might not happen. It might not happen with the children, the grandchildren, and so on, these different generations. But as a player, give me a dead rubber and get me through all the way to the final. Why not?
That's so interesting. That is really, really interesting. Okay, guys, I need from you your tip to win it, and I need from you your best placed English team to win it. Theo, let me start with you. Tip to win the whole thing is...
Arsenal are more quick to win this now. They've got the personnel going for Arsenal. Gyökeres is the difference in this, and Eze. I'm looking forward to seeing Eze in the champs.
So Arsenal
Arsenal is your answer to both questions.
Yes.
Both,
Sorry.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, you, Taylor?
I just think Paris, because their league schedule is one they can navigate and rotate and still win and compete in that, and I think that works. I can't believe I'm saying Bayern Munich's a dark horse, right?
No,
but the reality is similar to the Bundesliga in France, that schedule. The English, I would agree with Arsenal, actually. Because they can win games 1-0, because they can go places and rely on that when, and Theo knows this better, but you would have to go there and try to win a game 3-2 on the road. They can go somewhere and win 1-0 on the road now because they're good on set pieces and they can defend and be comfortable in that posture. So of the English teams, I would say Arsenal.
Okay, just side note, what was really interesting about Arsenal this weekend, Theo, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm going to get it up and I'm going to read out what I noticed this weekend. Just bear with me, listener, while I do that.
Okay.
The benches, right?
Yeah.
Between Liverpool and Arsenal. This was something that I don't think has been picked up a huge amount. So on the bench, right, for Arsenal this weekend, Nwaneri, Lewis Skelly, Declan Rice, Martinelli, Trossard, I'm yet to find a player that isn't a first-team player, Kepa, Ben White, Nkapie, their new centre-half, and Max Dowman, right, who is your little maverick. That is a flipping unbelievable bench. They then go and beat Nottingham Forest by 3-0. Then, yesterday, Liverpool's bench. Now, I know they won by 1-0. Listen to Liverpool's bench. Robertson, fine. Conor Bradley, fine. Chiesa, Frimpong, not yet fully proven, but not bad. Well, in English football. Okay. Yeah, in the Premier League, Frimpong. Engamoa, great, but similar to the Max Dowman. Then their goalkeeper, Mamadashvili. Gomez, Nione, midfielder, and Endo, not the sexiest sub. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad players. I'm just saying the difference in quality between Liverpool's bench and Arsenal's, Theo, was stark. Do you agree or disagree?
I think Arsenal's bench is incredible. This is why I said about the prediction should change now. I feel like we should do that. But when Man United won the league, were they all incredible players? Out of interest, in your opinion, Taylor, I want to ask you that. When you look at the squad itself or group, the whole squad.
but the way they came together as a collection, they complemented each other perfectly. So I would say they weren't individually great players, but as a collection, they were great because of how they came together.
And I think Liverpool got that, Rebecca, a little bit. I do feel like they got that experience, side of it. But I would say Arsenal's squad is better.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Arsenal squad's better. Massively better.
I think on individual quality, you could argue Chelsea's better than Liverpool on individual quality for the Champions League. I think that bench would be better. But Liverpool right now, I feel like they could put in a right-footed player and play him left back, and somehow the ball is going to bounce off the back of his head, and it's 1-0 Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, he played Dominic Szoboszlai right back again with 2 right backs on the bench. I mean, what kind of message is he sending? But again, Arne Slot does not lose his players. It's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. He can, Szoboszlai, you can play my position, and this guy can also play my position, but neither of us are playing it. But it's fine. We still love you, Arne Slot. I mean, fair enough. I love him too, by the way. Okay, we've got to get on to Major League Soccer because there was some stuff happening this weekend. Yes, Theo, we will get to your predictions in just a second. Congratulations.
Well done,
it's
awesome. Well done.
But Charlotte beating Inter Miami by 3-0. Lionel Messi with a Panenka attempt, which was saved. Record 9th straight win for Dean Smith's side. He watched on from the stands doing the Poznan, one of my favourite clips from the weekend. Hat-trick from Aidan Toklamati. Don't know if that pronunciation's correct. You can correct me, Taylor. What is, first of all, Dean Smith, what an interesting season, because it hasn't all been plain sailing, and suddenly they are looking hot.
They had 2 wins in 12 games in midsummer, and then all of a sudden they sold Patrick Agyemang to Derby County. Toklamati, well done on the pronunciation. He comes in. He's better in transition. He complements Zaha better. He moves Tim Ream, who's now a little bit slower and older, into the center back position. And Kalina's arguably, he's the goalkeeper of the year last year. He was in a complete funk until this part of mid-July. Now he's the best goalkeeper in Major League Soccer by a long shot, same pace and analytics and all of that as Petrovic that was sold to Chelsea for about $19.5, $20 million. So the reality is Dean Smith, Theo, went back to his old ways and saying, I've got to still build the foundation from back to front, but I've got 2 game changers in a way where Zaha and Toklamati, they're actually okay playing on the counter. They're okay absorbing pressure, and they almost freed up themselves doing that. Now, the reality is the game changed this weekend, and Theo became a genius when Lionel Messi tried a Panenka right down the middle, and Kalina caught it. So that was the decision that changed it. Miami was the better team up to that point. They score, I think, the 40,000 plus there at Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium. Rebecca, I think they're really struggling. They're down 1-0, but it almost ignited the entire crowd to say, who are you? Panenka. It looks bad. It comes across as a weird way. And then Toklamati scores 90 seconds after the Panenka miss.
Yeah, and that PR look that we've talked about with Inter Miami with what Messi did doesn't help it. I don't know. They got problems, but we talk about them every week. I want to finish MLS talking about Thomas Muller, who we also talked about a few weeks ago, scoring a hat-trick for Vancouver Whitecaps over Philadelphia Union, winning by 7-0. Someone explain to me how you can be top of your league, which Philadelphia are, and lose 7-0.
Rotation of the squad. They've got a U.S. Open Cup, which is the longest standing tournament in the United States of America. Open Cup semifinal, literally 24 hours from when you and I and Theo are taping this podcast. So he had to make a decision to rotate squad. You still shouldn't lose 7-0. And by the way, manager Bradley Carnell, last time he was in Vancouver, he lost his job with St. Louis City. So he must hate Canadian food. He must not do poutine. He just must hate Vancouver. 7-0? Oh, my God.
I lost 8-2.
Yeah, you did. You did. That is fair. Yeah. Were you top of the league when you lost 8-2?
No, they were second.
Or third, second or third. Yeah, we were 8-2.
Yeah, that is pretty poor, actually.
Yeah, but that's how you take a penalty, though, isn't it, Muller? That's how you take penalties.
Yes.
None of this messing around doing chips. Goodness me.
No.
Exactly.
Arne, you do that in training, just for fun.
I'm not having I'm never having it. I'm actually never having a Panenka, full stop.
Yeah, but you do it to annoy keepers.
Yeah, I know, but
training.
I just don't know if there's ever a time for one, unless you're 5-0 up. In training, fine, okay. But a Panenka in a game, I'm just not having as a fan. Picks of the week. Theo, you're top with 2. Rebecca, I don't know why I'm calling myself in the third person. Rebecca's on 1. Taylor is on 1 as well. Who's Rebecca? Let's do the predictions for this weekend. Right, Merseyside derby. By the way, I'm in Kansas City this weekend at the Fan Fest. Like 10,000 people are coming. It's going to be crazy. Wow. Jermaine Defoe, Alan Shearer, massive names, all going to be on NBC for all those listening. Merseyside derby, first up Saturday morning. Taylor, real quick, result and scorer.
Taylor will take Liverpool to win 2-0 at Anfield, and I will take Isak with his debut goal.
Whoa! Okay, Theo.
I will also go Liverpool to win. I'm going to go for a... What did you say? 2-0?
I said 2-0.
Yeah.
You said 2-0.
So good. I will give Everton a goal. Why not? 2-1. And I will go for Salah.
All right. Yeah, you guys are very straight down. I like to be a bit crazy with my picks because one day it's going to come off and I'm going to go top of the league. So I'm going to think that Liverpool's luck is going to run out. It's going to be 2-2 and I'm going to go with a James Tarkowski goal after what happened in the Merseyside derby. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I have to take a risk, Taylor, because I'm second in the league and I need to go to the top because I'm very competitive.
Fair enough.
Game number 2, Minnesota against Chicago, Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Taylor, you just tell us very quickly a bit about this so we can make our picks, please.
Yeah, it's real easy. Minnesota, the best counterattacking team in Major League Soccer. Chicago, Greg Berhalter, very aggressive. They throw a ton of numbers going forward. I'll be shocked if there's not more than 4 goals in this game, but I will take 2-2 draw.
I will go with...
Theo will get this right. What a loser.
2-0 Minnesota.
Yeah, see, and that's probably going to happen somehow. It's like...
By the way, for everybody at home, if you're ever writing a text message and you use the hashtag MLS expert, just don't do that, okay? Because we did that on the group text.
Especially
I did that
if
this
you
week.
capitalize the S and then it just came out weird.
When you see it written down, it's not what I was intending to write. Sorry about that, Pierre. Arsenal against Manchester City on
Well, hold
Sunday.
on. Where's
What a game,
Rebecca's result? Hang on. Rebecca, where's your Minnesota, Chicago?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. 2-0. 2-0 Minnesota. 2-0 Minnesota. Cool. Okay, Arsenal Man City. What are we going for? Theo, go.
City,
result.
Arsenal Man City. 2-0 Arsenal. Goal scorer?
Okay.
Do you need a goal scorer?
No,
Taylor,
we don't need a goal scorer.
No, don't need a scorer. Just need a result.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway,
I'm going to take 1-1.
Yeah, like it as well.
Okay, 1-1. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. I think that's a massive, massive, massive game for Arsenal. Couldn't be more massive. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been brilliant. Please keep sending us in your questions. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, like, leave a comment. We love to hear from you. And we have got... the chairman of Liverpool coming up this coming Thursday. Tom Werner is on the podcast on Thursday. So please tune into that. It's going to be brilliant. Can't wait for it, chaps. Love ya. Speak to you soon.